Hello, and welcome back to Explain USA, where we break down complex topics by going directly to the source material. So, how are the finances of our elected officials actually tracked? And, what happens when their wealth seems to grow really fast? Today, we're diving into a source that does just that. It scrutinizes the rapid wealth accumulation of several members of Congress. We're going to break down its specific claims to really understand the case it's trying to make. All right, so the source material we're digging into today really focuses on what it describes as a pattern of what it calls suspect financial growth among a few progressive politicians. It's raising some pretty big questions about their financial dealings while they've been in office. Now, to build its argument, the source zeroes in on one primary example, Representative Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts. Her financial story is basically presented as Exhibit A, the central pillar for the entire case the source is making. And this is where it gets interesting. According to the source, it lays out this very specific timeline. First, Representative Pressley is sworn into Congress. Then, almost right away, her husband's career takes a major turn. The source really emphasizes this career shift. Her husband goes from a steady job in the public sector at Boston City Hall, reportedly making about $92,000 a year, to suddenly launching his own private consulting business right after she takes her seat in Congress. And to really drive home the scale of this change, the source points out that before she took office, the couple's reported net worth was, well, pretty modest. We're talking about just around $12,000. And here it is. This slide gets to the absolute core of the source's claim. It alleges that in just a few years, their reported net worth grew substantially to a figure as high as $8 million. That dramatic increase is the central mystery the source wants to solve. So the obvious question is, where did all that money come from? According to the source, it all boils down to two main income streams: money they made from rental properties and revenue from that brand new consulting business. Okay, now this is a really crucial point. The source doesn't just stop with one case. It brings in other examples, specifically members of the squad, to argue that this isn't just a one-off thing, but part of what it sees as a recurring pattern. Let's break down these other allegations. The source points to Representative Ilhan Omar's campaign paying nearly $3 million to a consulting firm co-owned by her husband. Then it brings up Representative Cori Bush's campaign, which paid her husband over $100,000 for security services. And finally, it flags payments from Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's campaign to what the source calls a supposed psychiatric firm involving psychedelic drugs, basically questioning what that campaign expense was really for. Now, the source does add an important detail here. In Representative Omar's case, that nearly $3 million contract with her husband's firm, it was eventually terminated, but only after facing exactly this kind of intense public scrutiny. And for Representative Bush's husband, the source provides some legal context on a separate matter. He was tried for wire fraud over alleged misuse of COVID relief loans. That trial ended in a hung jury, which, as you probably know, means no conviction was reached. So, after laying out all these different cases, the source stops just presenting financial data and moves on to making a very direct, very pointed accusation. This is where it all comes together. The whole argument culminates in these questions. The source explicitly links all the financial activities we just talked about to accusations of hypocrisy and, in its words, public corruption. This is really the main message it wants the audience to walk away with. Okay, so what's the big takeaway from all this? After looking at the source material, what's the central theme that really emerges from all these claims? If you strip away all the rhetoric and the political labels, the fundamental issue this source highlights is that very complex and often controversial relationship between holding a public office and making a lot of personal money. So ultimately, this source material leaves us all with a huge question, one that gets right to the heart of public service. When a politician's wealth grows that much while they're in office, where do you draw the line between legitimate success and a potential conflict of interest? It really challenges all of us to think about transparency, oversight, and the standards we should expect from the people we elect to represent us. If you like informative videos, you can subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.